Autobots, roll out!
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Cybertron Optimus Prime Sonic Wing Mode, and I love this toy. So Optimus Prime from the Cybertron series is one of my favorite Primes, and I'm really excited to get a chance to go back and revisit him once more. I recently was visiting my friends over at M Collectibles, and they had a huge lot of just Unicron trilogy figures that were loose, that they were selling off, and they were having them all. They were selling them all for a really, really great price. And among the figures that I bought, I found Wingsaber from Cybertron, and I was really, really excited to be able to find this figure because this is one of those figures that combines with Prime to create the Sonic Wing Mode, which is really, really cool. So we'll set us. We're actually going to be looking at Wingsaber a little more than Prime on this one. We're going to be doing something a little different. So I'm going to set Prime aside here for just a second, and we are going to concentrate on Wingsaber. So here he is, very cool figure. I have never owned this figure before, so I was really excited to find one and get my hands on it. This guy was released in March of 2006. Of course, with the Cybertron line, he retailed for approximately $25. This is back in the day when we were getting the ultra size class of figures, which is what he is, which is really nice because it's a very nice size figure. Here in jet mode, you can see the jet is loosely based on an 810. I'm not sure if it's the 810 Warthog or the 810 Thunderbolt, but it's based on one of those. And as you can see, pretty good representation of that jet. Of course, you know, some liberties have been taken. All kinds of weapons on the bottom here. I really like this because this is one of those figures that's a jet that does not have an entire robot hanging down from the bottom. As you can see, not a whole lot of robot parts showing other than this chest piece right here. Other than that, you don't see a whole lot of robot hanging out. And I really, really enjoy that. Here in jet mode, he's approximately 10.5 inches long. He's got a wingspan of about 10 inches, and he's about 3.5 inches tall. Now, he does have some lights and sounds. We've got a button right up here at the top. We can press on that, and you can hear some the big old Gatling guns on the front there firing. Of course, he's got twin guns on this one, where the real thing would actually only just have the big one gun in the front there. If you guys don't know, the 810 is actually, the plane is actually built around the gun. That's how big that gun is. It's really, really cool. These guys used to fly over my barracks when I used to be stationed in Fort Bragg. And these guys on the F-16s were flying up and down right over our barracks all day long. So there is a cyber key feature, so you can see the slot right here by the cockpit. So we slide that guy right in there, and you're going to get that whole front of the cockpit just splits open to reveal just more guns, pretty much. And this is actually going to let us see the light. There's a little blinking light right up here. There you go, when you press on that button. So there you go. That's the lights and sounds for Wingsaber. And then one more time before we transform him. Uh-oh, what's going on here? The cockpit doesn't want to close. Come on, buddy. Of course, when I'm on cameras, when all this stuff is going to happen. There we go. So he's closed up now. And one more time, like I was saying before we get to the robot mode, let's just set him side by side with Optimus here for comparison. And as you can see, ultra size leader class and pretty big. I mean, it's very comparable. Size-wise. So these were very nice figures. I used to love these ultra-size figures because you got some really big, beefy figures for about $20 to $30, which was a really, really good deal. And it's kind of sad that these days are gone, the days of the ultra figure. Now, these guys do not combine in vehicle mode. They only combine for the robot mode, for the super mode. So let's go ahead and get to the robot mode so we can check these guys out. And here is Wingsaber transformed into his robot mode. I decided not to do the transformation in front of the camera since this is really kind of a Prime review. I wanted to just kind of concentrate on the wing mode and how to get to that. So I'm just kind of going over Wingsaber real quick, show the vehicle mode, the robot mode, and we are going to do the transformation for the combination though. But here he is in robot mode. Very nice figure, very nice size figure. He's about 7.5 inches tall at the head, 9 if you want to go to the top of the cannons here. Very cool sculpt. I think he looks really, really cool. He is back heavy. He's got the half front of his jet sitting on his back there, so and then, you know, his feet are a little odd. The stabilizers on the back of the jet become the bottom of his feet. So he can be a little back heavy. A lot of times I'll have with mine, I'll just kind of bend the knee forward one click, just like you see there, just to kind of get him to stand straight. And it looks nice. It looks good. He's standing straight. You know, when you look at him from the front, he looks like he is standing straight. He's got a bunch of weapons. He's got these cannons right here. Well, let's do articulation first. Let's look at the head sculpt. So let me bring him in for the head sculpt. There you go. Very cool head sculpt. I like it. To me, I don't know, there's just something about this head sculpt that reminds me of another property that I was a huge fan of, and I still have a lot of toys from. It was, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. The head sculpt on this guy looks just like Captain Jonathan Power. I love it. It's just such a cool little head sculpt. Articulation with Cybertron figures tended to be pretty good most of the times. Very clickety, very ratchety joints. The head rotates. That's going to be about it. You do have a little bit of waist rotation, and this is due to transformation and combination features. So you do have a waist rotation, but you are going to be hindered by this stuff in the back. As you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble turning it, but there you go. You can turn the waist around. I'm going to skip the arms for now. Just look at the legs real quick. Universal joints at the hips, so in and out, forward and backwards. You got a rotation right there at the thigh. You got a nice bend at the knee, and then you've got a little bit of tilt right here on the ankle. Now the arms, the legs are nice, but the arms do leave a little to be desired. The arms don't really move forward at the shoulders. The shoulders are not really connected to the torso, and that's an issue that you're going to run into with toys from the Energon and Cybertron area, especially when they have to do combinations and they have to do more than just robot and vehicle modes. A lot of times you're going to see they're going to lose something in articulation, and that's the case here with this guy. So the shoulder is actually attached to the back of the on its back to the wing itself, so you don't really get a good forward motion there. Now you can unclip it from the wing, so you can kind of move it forward like so. It kind of breaks it up a little bit, but it does work some. So there you go. There's your forward. Of course, there's not going to be any in and out, at least not from down here. Or unless you, maybe if you remove this stuff, well, that's not supposed to happen. You have a ratchet here for in and out, as you can see. And it's not really intended for the robot mode. It's really more intended for the weapons mode later on. So you can see there's a little bit of movement there. But when you've got all this stuff in, which was not supposed to come out, when you've got all this stuff on the wing still connected there, then you're not going to really be able to move that shoulder in and out, not unless you go forward like that, and that doesn't really work. So that's unfortunate. You do have a rotation at the bicep as well. Again, doesn't really do much for the robot itself, not when you're down here. And then you've got a double jointed elbow here and here. So again, that's for transformation because this has to come up all the way over like so. Now the hands are weird, or interesting actually. I think they're cool. But they are weird. So the hands are the twin Gatling guns that we saw on the bottom of the wings earlier. There you go. And there's this little tab that you pull back, and it makes one of the cannons retract all the way. And then, let me try that again so the camera can see it. It'll retract that one cannon all the way back. And then there's one cannon retracts about halfway. So it leaves out 4 long cannons and 1 short one to kind of look like a thumb, I guess. So it kind of makes a hand. Unfortunately, it's a hand that can't hold much. So you've got these holes right here on the side. So you can take these cannons that are on the side here, and you can plug them in there like so. So that's kind of him holding his cannons, and he would have missiles here that you could fire. Or if you don't want to do the cannons, you can always leave the cannons back on the wings there. He also comes with these wings. Now, swords rather. The swords are really, really cool. The handles for the swords store in the tail of the plane, right in there. And then the blades of the swords themselves are actually the wing stabilizers. So they actually store here on the back of the wing, and they actually move up and down like a wing stabilizer should. So it's really, really cool. And you've got these tabs right there, or pegs right here on the side, rather. And you can plug those into that port there. You can turn that, and there you go. Now he's sort of kind of holding the sword, given it's on the outside of the forearm. But, at least he can hold it. You can turn it and point it forward like so. There you go. So that's the articulation for this figure. I think I've gone a little longer than I intended to with this figure. I really want to get into the transformation for the combination. So let's get to that. Before we do that, real quick, comparison with Prime, since he is going to combine with Prime. So here's Cybertron Prime in his normal Prime mode. And once again, as you can see, just about as big, if not, well, he's almost as tall as Prime, but I dare say he might even be bulkier. I mean, just look at the size of this figure. So for half the price, you got a lot of figure here with this guy. So there they are side by side. I'm going to back up a little bit because these guys are going to get huge, and we're going to need the room here to do the combination. Okay, so for Prime, all we're really going to do with him, just put out his wings, and we're going to get into halfway into his super mode. So we just bring the legs around, bring him into his super mode legs, pop those in, and then we're going to pop these guys in on the back of the legs. There we go. I lost my place there for a second. So just like we did for the normal super mode that we did for Prime here. Such a great figure. I really love this guy. And that's about it. That's where we're going to leave him. We're not going to add his backpack or anything else to him. We're just going to do the super legs and the wings on his head. And even without the wings, what a cool looking robot that is. I really love that. You know what this reminds me of? My favorite robot when I was a little kid. If you guys are familiar with the Soul of Chogokin stuff, Mazinger Z, Mazinger Z. I mean, there's so many different ways to pronounce it, but if you guys are familiar with the robot, you know who I'm talking about. And one of my favorite robots, or actually my absolute favorite robot when I was a kid. And this right here reminds me a lot of that look, that style from that series and those types of robots. And maybe that's why I love this robot so much, because it reminds me of that. That just looks so cool right there. But anyway, so we set Optimus aside, and we're going to look at Wingsaber. So for Wingsaber, we're going to take him almost all the way back to jet mode. So we're going to start here with the head, pop that in, turn around, pop that in. We're going to take the arms, and we're going to unpeg them from the wings, bring them all the way up, and just point them straight out. For now, that's going to change later. We're going to take the guns off, and actually, let's go back to Prime for just a second, because we need to set him aside and bring these guys over here to Prime. So these guns are actually going to plug into the back of the legs for Prime. If you can see that peg right here, or that port right here, and you can see the peg on the back of Prime's leg. So again, as I mentioned, Wingsaber is kind of back heavy, and when he gets up combined with Prime is going to be back heavy. So this is going to actually help a lot with stabilization, and it just kind of helps to add heel support for Prime. So just pop those guys into the back of his legs there, and then you can, there's these little pegs on the back, on the top here, so you can, I don't know if this is official or not, but this is just something I like to do. How did I do this last time? There you go. So I like to bring the guns in, just peg them in there. It just kind of helps stabilize it and hold it in place better. So let's see if I can get that in there, and let's try that again. Of course, when I practice this off camera every single time, there's not a single issue. I try to do it in front of the camera, and everything starts popping off, and what are you going to do? Murphy's Law. So pop that back in place, and then again, that peg, I like to plug it into that gun right there, just to kind of help stabilize it. Give him some super shoes, stand him up straight, and you can see the back of his feet right there. He's got that heel spur on the back now. That's going to help a lot, trust me, because this guy's going to get really, really back heavy later on. So once again, set him aside. Back to Wingsaber. So Wingsaber, we're going to take him almost back to jet mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to unpeg the chest here and just kind of get it up and out of the way. We're going to get to the legs here. We're going to move the hips forward, and we're going to rotate them all the way around, and then we're going to bring that back down again. Open these guys up, bring the tail of the plane down. There's a little tab and peg, or peg and port right there. So just bring this down and just peg it in place. And we are going to take the wings and the legs here and pretty much convert them into what was the back of the jet mode. So these guys collapse, and they're going to peg in right there. Bring the intake of the engine down. Same thing over here. Just bring these guys up. Bring it all the way up at the knee. Peg that in right there. Bring the intake down. So it's almost all the way to jet mode again. Really, all we'd have to do is just bring the guns down at this point. Put the nose forward, and we'd be there. So this is almost complete. The wings, as you saw earlier, they pop open. So we're going to take them right here at these guns and missiles, and we're going to fold them all the way out. This guy's going to get so huge. It looks so awesome. Wait till you guys see this. And then this chest piece right here that we had in the front here, go ahead and pull this open, and it's going to click into place. There you go, just like that. And then it's on a kind of an accordion deal right here. So just go ahead and pull this all the way forward. And then you can see the other hinge there. So the whole thing is going to come up like so. There you go. So now we are ready for our combination. And you can see this big yellow tab right here. There's a little hole right on the top of that. So what we're going to want to do is that yellow tab is going to slot and peg right into this slot that we use for bringing Prime's head up and down. And then the little handle right here is actually going to go inside that hole. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's peg that guy right in there. There you go. Just like that. Easy enough. And then this whole chest piece is going to come down. And make sure that the windows are closed all the way. And these guys are just going to come down and clip into place. Straighten everybody out. These guns, you can bring these guys down just like so. Oh, and of course you're going to want to turn them into actual guns rather than hands. Just like that. And then last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give them the swords. Now the swords are cool because just like the weapons for Prime, you can see that little peg right there on the side of the handle. And if you remember on Prime's weapons, they also had those pegs so that they could plug into this port inside his fist. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because when I back this up, I want you guys to be able to see the whole shot with him with weapons and swords. And he just looks so cool. I really love this figure a lot. And I love this new enhancement, this Sonic Wing mode that he's got. I love it. It looks so great. I'm so happy that I found this figure and I picked him up. Okay, so we're really going to have to back up here. This guy's getting huge. There is Cybertron Optimus Prime combined with Wingsaber to create the Sonic Wing mode. Check that out. That looks so awesome. And I'm still backing up the camera because he's so huge. Here in Sonic Wing mode, Optimus stands approximately 10 inches tall, 11.5 if you want to go to the top of the guns right here, with a wingspan of about 15 inches. This guy is huge and he looks so great. Now, not a lot of change as far as like the head sculpt. This is still Cybertron Prime's head sculpt. The articulation is still the same. He can move a little better because he doesn't have his own wings that kind of hindered his movements earlier. So but the articulation stays the same from the basic figure. So there you go. There's that combination mode. He looks so awesome. And I'm going to try and turn him around without him falling back so you can see everything all the way around. Check that out. I mean, this guy just looks so cool. He's got an A10 attached to his back. It's so cool. So he's got the nice big wings now, big thrusters right here at his hips that is going to help him fly around and get to Megatron. It just looks so awesome. And then of course, when you're if you were to be flying, the cannons here, the Gatling guns can turn forward again, so you can actually fire forward while you're going. You still have those cannons that are attached to the legs there, so if you wanted to shoot missiles, if I had the missiles, sadly I didn't get the missiles with this guy, but you've got these launchers right here at his feet. They still work perfectly fine, so if you had the missiles, you could shoot missiles from your feet. And who doesn't want to shoot missiles from their feet? It's so awesome. Let's take a look at the Cyber Key gimmick real quick. You kind of already saw it, but this is really nice. I really like what they've done here. If you look at the top here, where Wingsaber's head is, there's a little gray piece here. It can be a little difficult to pull out sometimes, but let me see if I can get this thing out in front of the camera. If not, I'll just pull it behind the camera. There we go. So there's that little piece right there that flips forward. You can see those two little pegs right there. So you can bring the whole front of the plane up, and that's going to peg in there. Now, granted, it doesn't peg in like super securely, but it just kind of works as a stand for what's coming. So there you go. You can plug that in right there. And we'll straighten out his cannons here. And just as we did earlier, if we go around to the back, we've got that Cyber Key slot right there. So we can slot that right in there. And that's going to open up the front of that plane. So now Optimus has these twin cannons right above his head next to Gatling guns, because why not? And we can take these guys. Remember that articulation that I told you about with the shoulders? You can bring those guys out a little bit. You can really just kind of pose this any way you like. So if you got, like, this looks pretty cool right here with the Gatling guns just kind of pointed out at an angle, and that cannon at the top just opened up all the way. Let's get him backed up so we can see the whole thing. It just gets so huge. He got even taller now. So there you go. Look at that. That is just so cool. You can reach back here, hit this button, and you can just fire that off And let's get that. Let's check that out. That is just so cool. Now, I'm conflicted because as much as I love the regular look for the super mode for Cybertron Optimus Prime, I love this here so much as well. And I'm conflicted because I'm not sure which way I'm going to display him now. Of course, you know, logic dictates that I'm going to have to get another Optimus Prime so that I can display him in both modes, right? You guys got my back on this, right? Okay, yeah, that'll make sense. I'll explain it to my wife that way. Okay, so real quick comparison. Let's see if we can fit these guys in. So there's Sonic Wing Mode Optimus Prime. He is ready to face off against Megatron, which I also picked up from my friends at M Collectibles. I actually bought these guys together. Not Prime, but Wingsaber and Megatron. I bought them together as part of that lot. And then there was a bunch of other stuff that I bought. I got some G1 stuff. And I love visiting my friends over at M Collectibles. They always got such good stuff. But there you go. He is ready to battle Megatron now with his guns all over the place and his dual swords here, and he is going to cut off and then blow up and then do all kinds of stuff to Megatron's face here. It's just, he's ready to go. So check that out. He is so cool. I love this figure so much, and now I love it even more because now I have so many more play options that I can do with him. I think I've rambled on enough. Once again, that I think covers Transformers Cybertron Optimus Prime Sonic Wing Mode and Wingsaber. So what did you think of this figure or these figures, and what would you like to see me review next? Let me know by leaving me a comment. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.